Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Pomming Around podcast with me, Alex E. Morgan. So it's the end of the Perth Fringe Festival, and what a month it has been. Oh, I'm kind of glad it's over. Um, yeah, it was just a lot of show running. I didn't, yeah, as I said in the previous podcast, in previous episodes, I didn't perform as much, but I think towards the end, Ollie, who's like my boss, he was like really kind and he gave me some spots at the Five Headliner show, which was their like biggest show. Yeah, and I performed in front of like 80 people and it felt great. I didn't, yeah, this is just the thing. I just wish I had more material about Australia and Australians. But I think it will come. It will come. I'm slowly understanding the country and the people. I was talking to Ollie the other day, and I just like threw out a little premise. I just said, "Oh yeah, I've noticed that homeless people here in Perth, they don't ask for money. Whereas like in Paris, they ask like for money, ticket resto, food, cigarettes, and here they don't ask for anything. They just leave you alone. I say that they do sometimes in the bus. They do sometimes like yell and scream. They have arguments with each other, but and in the street as well. Sometimes you see him, you're like, ooh. There's like a road in Northbridge where to get to the Brass Monkey, that's where we do our shows. Um, there's like a few homeless people, and at night you have to like be careful, like, oh, I hope they're not gonna hurt me or anything like that. But yeah, it's over now. Yeah, I feel like I've got a new bit which is slowly developing. I'm really happy, chuffed about it. It's nothing about Australia. It's more about religion. It's slowly developing. I'm getting it funny. Uh, I want to do it again. I mean, like when I do it, I feel good about it. Or like I'm always. It's like it's kind of bit where it's like, um, religion. Or not really. I'm talking about atheism, and it's the kind of thing where it's like, oh, why would people care about atheism? But when I do it, I just feel like, oh, this is fun for me. I'm talking about something which is fun instead of just being like, oh, well, being half English, half French, blah blah. But it's fun, and I got a new chunk. Uh, I've got a new thing to add to it. And I'm slowly going to add things on. I really want this atheist bit to be at least like a good 5 minutes, like a really good 5 minutes. If I can get up to seven, that'd be excellent. But yeah. I've also, yeah, I wrote a few other jokes about being a middle child, which I haven't done yet, but I have the idea in my head, and I think it will work. I think it will work, but that's the thing. Again, it's like not everybody's a middle child, so you don't really know if people relate to it. But if you make it funny enough, people still laugh. Um, yeah. So yeah. Um, I'm just trying to think. Yeah, I met so many comedians during this first part of the Fringe. Yeah, just so many like also like yeah, they're just nice. They could like yeah, comedians are nice. Oh yeah, the last day of the Fringe, which was Saturday. That was probably one of the worst days, just because like I had a comedian that dropped out at the last, like when we started the show, he dropped out and I needed to find someone. And I was just texting around, asking people, and then this Japanese comedian Waka, very funny. Check him out. He's going to be on Taskmaster this year. He's going to be on the Australian Taskmaster. Very funny. Super kind. I asked him. He was like, "Yeah, I'm just next door. I'll pop in. How many minutes you want me to do?" I was like, "8." He was like, "Okay, cool." Did his bit, went out, left, and then afterwards he came back to do the other headliner show, which was on at 9:40, and I was just like, "Oh, thank you, mate, you saved my life." And he was like, "No, thank you." Well, it's more beneficial for him. He promotes his show, and he gets double the pay because we sold out that night. So that's awesome. But yeah, that was a really fun show because there was a so like I think it was last week we had a blind man, or I should say a visually impaired man, uh, come to the show, and he asked to be in the front row. So I was like, okay, yeah, no worries. I saved him a seat in the front row. He had a dog, and he had a lady with him, and I was, you don't think too much about it, but you're just like, oh, they're together. Like she looked very beautiful, very fancy dress, and yeah, so I sat him down. He really enjoyed it. He had a good moment with one of the comedians because the comedian that came up, Amos, didn't know he was blind, and he went in for the fist pump, and he was like, "Fuck." I went, yeah, I wanted to fist bump the only guy who can't see, and it got a laugh. Like, yeah, he was enjoying it. Everyone loved it. It was a really fun moment to see. You mentioned the dog who was like sleeping at the time, and he was like, "Oh, you should be working right now." Yeah. Um. But yeah, and then afterwards, I saw the blind guy this weekend. Same blind guy, same dog, different lady. Hmm. Different woman. So yeah, that was quite funny. Like just being like, oh, okay, okay. I think it was a different woman. I remember, and I know they were together because after the show, to he asked me if there was any liquor bottle shops around, and I was like, oh, I'm not sure, but I can look it up for you. And he was like, yeah. And then I started looking up, and they started like kind of like kissing in front of me, and I was just like, okay, there's one here, and I gave him the name and said, pointed them to the same to I should point them to where it is. And he was like, "Oh, thanks, mate." But I was like, oh, "What a player! What a player!" I wonder if the first lady was like his carer, which was like taking out this for a night, and then afterwards he was just wanted to make sure if everything was good for the date. But yeah. But no, he looked like a nice guy. Uh, he looked like a nice guy. He was really nice with me. Like I made the mistake where I made a mistake where like when he asked for the bottle shop, I showed him my phone, and he was like, "I'm blind." And I was like, "Oh shit, I'm so sorry." He's like, "No, no worries, no worries." It was really nice about that. So that was a fun little thing. I remember, and afterwards, Nick there told Ollie about it, and we were just laughing about it. We were just like, "Oh, what a player! What a player!" But yeah, what else? Yeah, no shows yesterday. Well, I didn't show run any shows yesterday. Um, I went to. I was working for the Laneway Festival, which is in Perth. So I was working as a bar pourer, they call it. It's part of the Events Logistics Australia, or no, ELA. I think it's a platform where you can find casual jobs, and they often do festivals, events, these sort of things, and I think they just help with food and beverages. Um, and it's quite it's funny. Yeah, so I was a bar. There's like four types of jobs. There's cashier, bar server, bar pourer, and bar stocker. And I was a bar pourer, so I was making. So for a couple of hours at the beginning of the shift, I was making like three types of Red Bulls, vodka Red Bulls. So it was vodka Red Bull Classic, normal, vodka Red Bull Sugar Free, vodka Red Bull Watermelon. And you're just making, and it was quite fun. I enjoyed it. It brought me back to those bar days in Paris. Just being like, you're not thinking anymore. You're just in the motions of like just getting everything ready, and having enough drinks on your board, because we had a board, and there was like uh 20 holes in, and there was 3 rows, so classic sugar-free watermelon, and you just have to keep them, up to date. Just keep them up, keep them fresh. And yeah, just brought me back to those bar days of like just constantly like not thinking about anything, just and you get into some kind of rhythm which is kind of therapeutic in a way. Um, and also like everybody was cool. Like even like the manager there was like I thought I don't know why like if it were in France, it would be like oh don't stand around, don't like don't sit down on whatever. But like most of the time like I did the bar pouring for a couple of hours. Then the manager moved me to the back of the tent, okay, and in the back of the tent we were making just vodka Red Bull, but in like larger quantities and a lot faster. So there was someone that was putting that had like a little special tool which could pour 5 shots into 5 glasses at just in one time. We had someone opening the Red Bulls with a spoon, and then someone pouring those Red Bulls into the cups, and then another person into and then another person taking a board of 20 and taking them where they need it, where there's empty glasses. And yeah, I was the guy that was opening Red Bulls, which was like an easy gig of just like you had your finger after a while. I understand why they ask you to bring a spoon because you can't open it all night with your fingernails. It's just impossible. Like after like a couple of minutes, I thought my fingernail was gonna like fall off. But yeah, that was fun. It's funny like it's funny like studying like economics because you understand like Henry Ford's specialization technique where you know people in his factory just had one very simple monotonous job, very repetitive monotonous job, and it was just like that. Where it was at the front or at the back, they just had a bunch of staff who just did the same job all night. But that's how you sell quicker. So at the front, it was like the cashier. They get the order, they cash people out. The server grabs the drink from the pourer makes the drink, and the stocker makes sure that the pourer um, has enough like ice, drinks, vodka, just to make sure that he'd be able to make the drinks. But so and the setup was at the front and at the back, as I explained, just like specialization, very effective. But it was so cool because I think I worked like the first 3 or 4 hours, and then by like eight, we were just like by like eight, we were just like standing around. I was watching the concert. I had a friend, Julian, who was at the concert. So we met up, and we said hello, and I hung out with them afterwards a little bit. But yeah, I managed to go out, and we were sitting on like the Red Bull cases, and yeah, it was really chill. Like there was like a few managers, and they were just like we were on our phones as well. Like if this was in France, it wouldn't have gone down that way. They would have just said no phones. You always have to stay busy. No going out. There was one point I went to the VIP section to order food because you could order food in the peasant section, but there was like a massive queue, and my manager was like, "Just go to the VIP section." And I went, I went to the VIP. I was a bit sad. I was like, "Oh, I have a worker's wristband. Are they gonna let me in?" And they just let me in, and I was like, "Oh, that's super cool." And I had pulled beef loaded fries, which is very nice. Yeah, because I didn't eat that morning. I haven't eaten that morning. But yeah. So Laneway, that was fun. I got to see. So Charlie XCX was headlining, and that was a good concert. I wish I was a fucking 20-year-old girl, just to enjoy that concert. I would have enjoyed it. I think I would have enjoyed it if it was like my friends, but like I was a bit alone. There was Julian, but he was in the mosh pit with his girlfriend and I think his brother or his friends. But I would, towards the end, I was just standing like at the back, but I got to have a good view. I had a good view, but yeah, it seemed like a good concert if you were like a 20-year-old girl. I say that I did see a guy cry when she started doing one of her old songs. He was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I knew she would do this. I knew," and he started like bowling, and it was like a, it wasn't like a, I don't think he was a gay guy, but he was just like, he had like a beard, long hair, and he was just like, ah, he started jumping around. I was like, ah, that's sweet, that's sweet. But there was also what's his name, DJO. Um, he was performing. He was on earlier than I thought, but I guess people don't know him for his music. Yeah, because it's the I think it's Joe Keery. That's his name. He's the actor in Stranger Things. He plays Harrison, Steve, Steve, Steve Harrison. No, I don't remember that Steve Harrison. Oh, I forgot his name. But yeah, and the people who I was working with, they're like, "Oh, he looks like the guy from Stranger Things," and I was like, "Yeah, he is the guy from Stranger Things." And he was like, "No, he can't be. He's an actor." I said, "Yeah, but he also does music." Um, that's gonna be like I could so see that in like a general quiz question on like a TV show in the future, like which famous Stranger Things actor was also go by the musical name DJ? Is it Joe Keery, David Harbour, Rona Ryder, or Millie Bobby Browner? Yeah. So it was a good concert. I didn't like festivals. That's not really my thing. Like, and thank God, like it's such a good shift working there, like as a casual, just because you know, like you're getting paid and you're at the concert, you're listening to music, you're getting paid, you're talking to people, you're making new friends. I met a few new people, and like you're just getting paid. You're getting paid like $43 an hour. And as I said, like towards the end, we were doing nothing, and we finished earlier, so that was super cool. And yeah, I would have hated this. Just like you're just in that field, and I'm sure there's people that were there all day just waiting for how Charlie XCX actually performs at 9, and the concert starts at like 3. No, it started at 1. Love water. Water's so important in Australia. Yeah, so yeah, I had a little vodka Red Bull last night, but yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna stop drinking, dudes. I'm gonna stop drinking just because I don't know, fuck, it fucks up with my sleep. Like last night, I was so tired because I was just so tired. Like I woke up yesterday at 10 and I had to pack the room up. I had to like take down the banners of the shows and I was so tired. And like I was like, okay, I'm gonna work from 1 to, and then the concert finished at like 11:30, and I was like, okay, I can't wait to go home and sleep. Went home, obviously spent time on my computer, doom scrolling on TikTok or Instagram. And then I went to bed at probably like 1 or 2, or went like 1. I probably went to bed at 1 and woke up at 2. I think my body, I don't know if it's the alcohol or if my body thinks I was just like taking a nap, but like woke up at 2, couldn't go back to sleep. I was talking to a friend in Paris, Elsbeth. We're just talking about the Fringe Festival, and talking about she has a solo show and gossiping about what's happening in Paris, stuff like that, which was kind of nice. But yeah, dude, I feel like when I drink, I always have like bad sleep. I feel it's always like this is I thought about this yesterday, being like when I sleep, it's kind of like like when I sleep drunk, it's kind of like a fuzzy TV where it's like one of those old box TVs made out of wood and it's fuzzing, and then my brain just like slaps on the TV so it turns back on. But yeah, I just wanted to press the remote to turn it off, but yeah, no, my brain has to slap it to turn it off. Like a guy walks up, he's like, "Oh my god, I can't watch my football anymore." He's wearing like a tie and like trouser braces. But yeah, awesome. Yeah, some little exciting news. I'm gonna be going to, I know at the beginning of the show I'm like, oh, I'm so glad the Perth Fringe Festival is over, but I'm going to the Adelaide Fringe Festival um next week. I'm going to tell you about that in the next episodes. So yeah, stay in touch to be continued, I guess. But yeah, I'll tell you all about the Adelaide Fringe Festival and how I got the gig and what I'm going to be doing. But yeah, really looking forward to it. It starts on today we're the 17th. Yeah, I'm leaving for on Thursday, so I need to get a lot of things ready. But yeah, I'll tell you more about it in the next episode. Okay, cheerio, ta ta. See you next time.